Applications of supply and demand analysis. This module will explore the market forces that influence the price of raw agricultural commodities. To understand what influences the price of commodities, it's essential to understand a foundational principle of economics, the law of supply and demand. Factors that influence total supply. Weather. Weather is one of the primary factors that influence the supply of commodity. Weather conditions during the growing season will have an impact on the supply of commodity. Yields. The amount that producer is able to produce or yield directly affects supply as the yield of commodity increases, the supply increases. Disease. A disease outbreak will decrease the supply of livestock. Technology. Improvements of technology increase the production of product. Cost of production. The cost of growing a commodity certainly influences the amount that is produced. As expenses to produce a particular commodity increase, the supply of that commodity will decrease. Government policies. The federal and state government also influence agriculture through policies like trade agreements for farm subsidies or subsides, tariffs, property tax, and conservation program. Demand is the quantity of a product that a burger is willing and able to purchase at a given price. The law of demand states that all else equal as the price of goods or services, increased customer or consumer demand for the good service will decrease. Now, I think about a consumer who is in the market to buy cookies from a bakery. The law of demand suggests that the consumer will purchase more cookies as the price for cookies decreases. Further, the consumer will purchase. Factors that influence total demand. Population size. The demand for products will increase the more people in the market who want to buy the product. An increase in population will increase the demand for all agricultural commodities and food products. Income. A consumer's demand for product is influenced by size of his or her income. An increase in the level of income will increase the demand for goods because a rise in income will cause an increase is an consumption. Price of substitute. I think about meat substitute. Common protein option for dinner include beef, chicken, pork, or fish. Consumers' tastes and preferences. Consumer preferences, habits, and cultural customs will influence the demand for a good. Research and media. If research findings are reported and heavily shared with the public, it could have a large impact on demand for a particular goods. Government policies. The government can also increase demand by functioning as a consumer and purchasing agricultural products and international markets. The economics of price controls. Price ceiling establishes a maximum price that sellers are legally permitted to charge. Example, rent control when price ceiling keeps the price of a good below market equilibrium. There will be both direct and indirect effects. So, direct effects, shortage. The quantity demand will exceed the quantity supplied. The waiting lines may be developed. Indirect effects or effects. Quantity deterioration and changes in other non-price factors favorable to seller and unfavorable to buyers are likely to occur. The quantity exchange will fall and gains from trade will be less than if the good were allocated by markets. Black markets and the importance of the legal structures. Black markets. A market that operates outside the legal system. The primary sources of black markets are evasion of price control, evasion of tax, high excise tax on cigarettes, legal prohibition on the products or productions and exchange of goods. Example is prostitution, marijuana, and cocaine. Labor supply, population growth, and wage. The wage rate, which represent the income of workers, provides some indication of the standards of living. High wage results from the interaction of the demand and supplies of labor. In countries where the supplies of labor is very abundant, many workers are willing to accept low wages in exchange for their services. Exchange rate of the peso, the value of foreign money. Foreign exchange is the term used to denote the value of a foreign money in terms of local money. The exchange rate for the US dollar is the peso, cost of buying a US dollar. The peso appreciates in value when the amount of pesos to acquire a US dollar becomes smaller, which makes peso more valuable. Peso depreciates when the price of the US dollar increases in terms of peso. It is important to value foreign currency because the country earns dollars when it imports and spends dollar when it buys foreign goods. Devaluation indicates an official actions of the governments to reduce the value of the currency. Foreign exchange markets consist of the interactions of countries to buy or to sell foreign currencies. Principal currencies are US dollar, Japanese yen, and euro. Supply of foreign exchange. The following activities contribute to supplies of dollars. Export earnings, foreign tourism in the country, use of services sold by Philippines companies, transport, telecommunications, and others. Remittance of OFW, proceeds from foreign loans, short-term inflows of foreign capital for investment in the country of the deposit of foreign money in any Philippine-based bank. Demand for foreign exchange, consistent of the payment for the volume of imports that the country buys to support the needs of businesses and citizens during a given period. These payments include imports of goods for consumption and for investment. Filipinos travel abroad for tourism or for business.